Hello and welcome to another edition of Sip and Talk with Vikram. Today we have with us Dr. KRS Nair, who is an author. This segment, Sip and Talk with Vikram, is meant to present to you budding authors who have come up with awesome books in the market. So welcome Dr. KRS Nair in Sip and Talk with Vikram.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Dr. Nair is accredited behavioral scientist and he has been a corporate trainer for more than 25 years. So, Dr. Nair, please introduce yourself to our viewers.
Okay, thank you, Vikram. At the outset, let me place on record my deep sense of gratitude to you for bringing me to limelight and my book also to limelight in a trailblazing manner, which is unique for you, which I find. And secondly, I want to take this opportunity to congratulate you for becoming #1 bestseller in 3 foreign Amazon marketplaces. Okay, I am KRS Nair, KR Sukumaran Nair full name. A trainer as you said, for the last 25 years or so, specializing in behavioral science, soft skill trainer. Of course, I'm writing. When I'm not writing, I'm doing these training programs, public speaking mainly on spirituality about my ashram, my guru. And then I frequent All India Radio also for giving talks. The very first program of All India Radio, that is Subhashidam. I've been giving talks on Subhashidam. Then, of course, participating and making presentations in various webinars nowadays. So these are the things that I do when I'm not writing. Then I'm also the senior general manager in Shantigiri Ashram, which is a spiritual organization based in Thiruvananthapuram in Kerala. So that's about me.
Thank you, Dr. Nair, for introducing yourself to our viewers. So, viewers, we have an awesome book to show you today from Dr. KRS Nair. Let me show you the book cover so that you get to know about this. Incredible Word Power, 3 Strengths and 4 Keys, Unique Human Endowments to Script, Write One's Destiny, and Become a Winner for Life. Congratulations, Dr. KRS Nair, for bringing this awesome book into this world. So we will have a deep dive into your book, Dr. KRS Nair, and what is better than getting the author himself to tell about the book. So Dr. Nair, Incredible Word Power. What is this word power about?
See, we human beings are sent to this world by the Creator with certain unique birth gifts. These birth gifts, unfortunately, many a time are not getting opened, and even if they are open, they are not utilized properly. Their significance or their importance or worth are not properly understood by people. With the result, we are always suboptimal in our performance. So, amongst these various birth gifts, I have identified the amazing power of words as the #1. Amazing power of words in the sense that we create our world with our words. The words others speak to us and we speak to others, that can create biology, transform biology. In fact, in ancient India, our seers, that Nasha Bharat, our seers are given a clarion call that the words are to be venerated, they have to be respected, they have to be honored, never neglected or defiled. Aksharam Paramam Brahma. Akshar means which is not destructible. So actually the Parabrahma, the ultimate power, Parabrahma is indwelling in the sanctum sanctorum of the words that we speak. So that is why, in fact, I have given in the books various stories from Indian epics where I am telling about Mahabali of Onam fame in Kerala, who just for keeping his word sacrificed his life. Dasaratha in Ayodhya, then Yudhishthir, I don't want to go to the details of that, Yudhishthir, then Karna. So all these characters in the epics, they were portrayed by Valmikis and the like. to show to the world that words are always much more, the words worth will be much superior to the net worth of people. But unfortunately, we are not taking it that way. So that is why I thought that I will talk about incredible word power in the book. The first part of the book is actually discussing the different parts of it. Because in Chandogya Upanishad, there is a saying that Purushasya Vagrasa. Purushasya Vagrasa means the essence of man is his words. So how can we neglect the essence of man? Then where you are headed to? In fact, the cultural decadence of India, I think one of the major reasons is because we never honor our words. We never keep our word. We don't attribute the real worth of words to the words that we speak or they speak. So these are the various dimensions of the incredible word power, which I am highlighting in this particular book.
Thank you, Dr. Nair. I will bring a perspective to this. I will add on to this. You see, in Mahabharata, as you said, there was a word or a promise given by Bhishma. Now, in maintaining his promise, a lot of nonsense happened, which could have been prevented. So, how do you bring about to that?
No, in Mahabharata, of course, a lot of things happened. Even Bhishmacharya himself admitted that the ways of dharma are very, very difficult to understand and difficult to explain. When pointed question was asked by Draupadi to Bhishmacharya, when she was disrobed in the Rajya Sabha, she specifically asked about dharma, and Bhishma could not answer properly. So many times we are analyzing the behaviors and performance of acharyas like Bhishma, we can find that it is not adhered to properly. So, but still we can understand that noble characters like Yudhishthir, for just satisfying an unworthy Duryodhan, he sacrificed everything he gave up and retreated to the forest along with brothers and wife. So like that, Kunti, just to keep the word of Mother Kunti, these Pandavas went for polygamy, married one lady. Karna, for example, Karna actually gave a promise to Mother Kunti that he will not kill anybody other than Arjuna. So he got enough opportunities to do away with Dharmaputra, Bhima, Nagula and Sakadeva, but he left them all. In a battlefield, just imagine when the opponent is coming and attacking you like anything, if you want to keep the word given to somebody and don't kill them, that is something which you have to think as to what sort of, how high the value of words was accorded in that times.
So giving a word is important, at the same time to maintain a sanity behind it, and the logic and the reasoning behind it is also very important.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that perspective, Dr. Nair. Going further, deep diving into your book, you have spoken about some 4 keys to success, about unique human endowments. So can you please delve upon that?
Yeah, sure. See, everything that we do in our life, it is based on a stimulus. The stimulus may be coming from within us or from outside the world. We are responding. Whatever we do in our life are responses to our stimulus. But we have to understand that the responses that we are making generally are really not responses but reactions only. The difference between reaction and response is that reaction is spontaneous, it is instantaneous without applying the mind, whereas response is after thoughtful consideration of the consequences and what is suitable for the given occasion, like that. There's a saying that between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies our freedom and power to choose. In those choices lie our happiness and our growth. So between stimulus and responses, in the given space, the creator has deposited 4 keys, which if you are utilizing properly, judiciously, then you will be able to achieve happiness and growth. And these 4 keys are self-awareness 1, conscience number 2, independent will number 3, and imagination. These are unique. No other living beings, animals, birds, or any other living being has got these 4 unique endowments. So True. These are, if properly utilized, then you can have a fulfilling life utilizing them. That is why I have highlighted these 4 keys lying between stimulus and response in life.
So viewers, I hope you are enjoying this conversation with Dr. KRS Nair over a cup of coffee. Thank you, sir, for bringing these lovely perspectives before us. You tell us, sir, about your the impact of these themes in personal development. You know, these things that you have mentioned in your book. So
Impact
how can it cause an impact in our personal development?
There's you mean there's unique endowments and all?
Yes, yes.
Definitely, you properly utilized this can have great impact, and you can bring out the full potential that is lying dormant within. See, there are three Shaktis three powers I'm talking before this 4K. Elsewhere in the same part, I think in part number 2, I'm talking about three powers. The three powers are the power of willpower, that is Ichha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti. Swami Vivekananda says that Ichha Shakti is supremely important. But even if Ichha Shakti is there, unless Jnana Shakti is there, unless the power of knowledge is there, what will be the use of Ichha Shakti? And even if Ichha Shakti and Jnana Shakti are there, unless the person is prepared to act, the Kriya Shakti is not there. In fact, in one of the questions asked in the class in that particular book is that why self-help groups are not helpful. Many a time we read, we are happy, we appreciate, but we are not putting in, we are not being benefited by these self-help groups, many books. And the answer given by the trainer is that because Kriya Shakti is not there. Okay, you are acquiring knowledge, but you are not putting into action what you are learned. So Ichha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, and Kriya Shakti put together, they can bring out awesome results, amazing results.
So stay tuned with us, viewers. We are going to have a lot more interesting conversation. Please press the subscribe red button below and also press the bell icon to stay notified. Also, please like, share, and comment about this conversation that you are being party of with Dr. KRS Nair on Sip and Talk with Vikram. Dr. Nair, moving forward with your wonderful book, how as a reader I can benefit, I can make use, how can I use your book? Just can you please guide us?
No, and using the book in life is to repeat what I said. And for example, see, I started with the amazing power of the birds. So when I was writing the book, I myself got transformed, and I was thinking repeatedly as to, am I practicing all these things? Because when I say self-cursing, for example, self-cursing, see, when you are cursing yourself, the self-talk we are always doing, we are always doing self-talk. So when we are, I'm useless, I'm good for nothing, whatever I do, nothing will be working. All these things, many a time, in every day we are talking, knowingly or unknowingly, without any seriousness attached to that. But we have to understand that these are all having impact. So like that, positive or negative, before our talking, we have to think as to what will be the impact that will be created because of our talking to ourselves as well as to others, and then accordingly we have to change the approach towards that. So that is one thing. So that is about word power. And of course, I had to always honor my word. At any rate, I had to think about Dasharatha, I had to think about Mahabali, I had to think about Kundi, Karna and all. And then I had to understand that if I had to live a ethical, virtuous life, then I had to honor my words always. So I think that discerning readers of this book will definitely get to understand better. In fact, I remember a couple of our friends have written to me through email as well as WhatsApp that they would like to read it again and again, but that is so much informative and things like that. So that means that people who are discerning and imbibing, they find that yes, here is something which is very important, which I have to put it into practice in my life. So like that is the first part. Then second part, if I come to second part, I was saying about the three powers, Ichha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, and Kriya Shakti. What you have to basically have this Ichha Shakti to do something. What difference am I making in the world? How I am going to be remembered? All these things we have to ask ourselves and see that we are going to live a worthy, fulfilling, winning life by using these three powers: power of Ichha, that is power of knowledge, as well as power of action. Then, as I told earlier, between stimulus and response. So before responding to anything, instead of reacting to any stimulus, we have to understand that we have to think about the repercussion, think about the consequence of that this particular action that we are going to take by way of response to the given stimulus, by way of response to that stimulus, how it is going to affect ourselves as well as whatever the desired goals are. So that way, instead of reacting, we have to respond. And there comes I have explained each of the 4 cases. What is self-awareness? What is meant by conscience? What is meant by independent will? What is imagination, which is unique for human beings, like that and all. I'm sure that if people, serious readers who just want to understand new things and then implement it in their life and see the results, they will definitely get benefited.
So viewers, I am going to reveal a secret about Dr. Nair. And if I have your permission, Dr. Nair, can I reveal this secret?
Sure.
So this is not the first book he has written. He has already published, and that was a #1 bestseller prior to this book. So Dr. Nair, please tell us briefly about that book as well.
Yeah, in fact, I'm writing a series on holistic personal development. Holistic personal development is integrated, wholesome, all-round development of the individual. So which actually we have to start from the basics. See, personal development, for that matter, it is an inside-out approach. First, it has to come from within you. You have to develop yourself first. Then only you can go out to the world and earn victory in the world. I'm reminded of the legendary Jack Welch of GE fame. In his famous book, Winning, he defines leadership as, before you are becoming a leader, success is all about growing yourself. Once you become a leader, success is all about growing others. So a beautiful definition he has given for leadership. Before my becoming a leader, success is all about growing myself. Then once I grow myself, then I can go out and grow others, and that is leadership. So this is a ditto for personal development. So any personal development also has to come from within. This is an inside-out paradigm, or you have to have private victory over the self first before you go out to the world and reap public victory. Private victory comes before public victory.
Nicely put, Dr. Nair. Thank you so much for that. And Dr. Nair, nowadays there is a trend of lot of personal development coaching happening. There is a training element, with a lot of Western concept, and you are bringing that along with the Eastern spiritualism, and you are merging these two things together. Just throw some light on this aspect.
I'm really happy that you asked this particular question, because this is one of my unique selling propositions of my books, which I'm writing now. These were both the book. I have introduced the element of spiritual intelligence. See, what is happening, as you rightly put it just now, see, many books on self-help we are reading, Western books more particularly. If you can see that majority of these books are talking about how to improve your career, how to improve your business, how to be a successful entrepreneur, this leadership, how to be a leader, and other people's skills like that. But basically, you have to start with the fundamental question, directing certain questions to your inner self. Your inner self as to what is the purpose of my life? What is the purpose of my life? What happens to my soul when I die? I know that my body will be disintegrated into the 5 basic elements, and the soul is indestructible, as Gita says. So what will happen to my soul? How I will be remembered? What difference am I making? And as Robin Sharma says, who will cry when you die? So like that, these questions you have to ask yourself, without which whatever achievements you are making temporally means opposite of spirituality. Temporal achievements, whatever you make, this will take you nowhere, and ultimately that will take you nowhere, because as my guru often says, all these achievements of name, fame, wealth, prosperity, power, all these things will take you up to the graveyard only. Beyond the graveyard, when the soul travels, what is it carrying? What are you yearning for your soul? These questions you have to ask. That is why, let me add, Paramahamsa Yogananda says that if you have got a spiritual master, then you will be able to traverse the dense forest of life and come out successfully. Without a guru, even if you are spending incarnations together, you may not be coming out. And that is why Adi Shankaracharya say, Evatat Devanugraha Hedugam, Manishuttam Mumutshuttam Mahapurusha Samsraya. Very rarely, because of the blessings of Almighty, people get three boons. That is, one is humaneness, second is an intense desire for deliverance, for salvation, and third, association with a spiritual master worth his salt, a Mahapurusha Samsraya. See, the very last, if I can add further to the spiritual dimension of my book, see, very last verse of Bhagavad Gita, 701st verse, is what Sanjaya tells Dhritarashtra. Sanjaya tells Dhritarashtra in the very last sloka of Bhagavad Gita that Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, where Krishna the Yogeshwara is there, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara, where Vijayaputa, Dhruva Netir Madir Mama, Tatra, there, Srir, that is affluences, Vijaya, victory, Bhuda, all sort of progressions in life, Dhruva Niti, that is lasting policies and visions and all will be there. Mama, Madir Mama, this is my firm opinion. This is what Sanjay tells Dhritarashtra. In fact, the union between the spiritual master and the disciple is absolute necessity for, it is not something which was applicable for Dwapara Yuga only, it is applicable right now also. A spiritual master who can guide you properly through the life is very, very important if you want to succeed in life fully. And we can understand that here, the power of Arjuna, he derived the power of Arjuna thanks to the guidance given by his charioteer, Lord Krishna. And without Krishna, the history would have been different. See, just two instances, if I have got time, just two instances I would like to cite here. At the end of the battle, Kurukshetra war, Lord Krishna asked Arjuna to step down from the chariot. Because Krishna was sitting in front and Arjuna behind him, Arjuna thought that why not Lord alight first and after that I'll get down. He said so. But Krishna insisted that Arjuna should come down first. So Arjuna got down and thereafter Lord Krishna stepped down. The moment the feet of Lord Krishna touched the ground, the entire chariot was aflame. It became a ball of fire. It was burnt into ashes. Stupefied, wonder-struck, Arjuna was there standing, wondering as to how it happened, why it happened and all. And Lord Krishna answered, actually the chariot was destroyed by the strong weapons of the opponents much before. Because of my divine power, I was conserving it, I was preserving the chariot. The moment they got out of the chariot is no more there. So without a spiritual master, without a proper guru, you will be achieving nothing. And the second instance is that, see, at the end of the battle, over the crops of all sons and other relatives, Gandhari gave a curse to Krishna. Gandhari cursed Krishna, saying that 36 years from now, you and your entire clan of Yadavas will be annihilated. You will be wiped out from this world. Krishna smiled and said, great lady, I know that this will happen. And it happened. You know, we know how Krishna died. And after the demise, after the Surgarahan of Krishna, there was an instance that Dwaraka was conquered by demons, Asuras, and they captured all the ladies in Dwaraka. Arjuna went there. Arjuna wanted to take on them and he fought with these Asuras. To no avail. Arjuna was defeated like anything. Having humiliated by these Asuras who got their way, Arjuna wanted to commit suicide. He was about to commit suicide. That time, Vyasa Maharshi appeared in front of him and told, look, there is no necessity for committing suicide at all. It is not your fault. You achieved everything because Krishna was with you. One thing. Second thing, the powers of the weapons that you used in the battle were provided by Devas. And Devas' powers were there only in Dwapar Yuga. It is not there in the Kali Yuga. Because Kali Yuga has started. Kali Yuga has just started because Kali Yuga, incidentally, it was started on Thursday, 17th February, 3102 BC. So that was the time when Kali Yuga just started. So Vyasa Maharshi told that no need to be repentant about your failure. you are indefatigable, you are well in and all, but all this work when the Guru was there. So Krishna, Lord Krishna is the Jnana Shakti. Arjuna is the Kriya Shakti. And Arjuna had the Ichha Shakti to seek guidance of the Guru. And when he got the proper guidance, he could achieve, and we know the result. So in the battlefield of life, if you want to be successful, if you want to be successful personally, if you want to earn public victory by going out into the world, first of all, you earn victory over yourself and then go to the world and earn the victory for which it is absolutely essential that proper spiritual guidance by a master is there. That is how
Thank you so much.
I have dovetailed spirituality to this topic.
Dr. Nair, if I hear this, I feel that I require a prerequisite expertise in following your book. So, as a novice, as a new person, you know, whom is this book targeted for? Who is your audience? Who is your target audience?
Good. My target audience basically are youngsters and the teenagers, and of course middle-aged people and all. For that matter, learning is a lifelong process. At any point of time, you can learn new things. As Stephen Covey says, the more you know, you don't know. A beautiful definition of education given by Stephen Covey is that the more you know, you don't know. So it's a progressive revelation of the level of ignorance that we are having. Education is bringing that. So at any age, one can definitely get benefited by reading these books, but mainly targeted to the give pointed answer to your question. I'll say that mainly targeted at teenagers.
Thank you, sir. You must be reading a lot of books beside the scriptures. So who are the contemporary authors and what are the books that you love to read?
Okay, I have a couple of favorite authors, but most importantly, if you talk about contemporary, of course, he is no more there. Stephen Covey himself is my most favorite author because his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People was adjudged as the #1 book of 20th century. And I am a person who was lucky enough to get trained by Stephen Covey directly. When he came to India and when he came to Hyderabad, where I was working in the staff college there, and I got an opportunity to attend his one-day training program. And so he personally trained me that way. And I have summarized, as a trainer, I have summarized his various titles, Principles Under Leadership, then 8 Habits, etc. During my training period also. So Stephen Covey one, then Deepak Chopra, definitely. Deepak Chopra, I read him a lot. Robin Sharma, Jack Welch. Then on spiritual side, of course, I read Paramahamsa Yogananda, then Swami Rama, Sri M, then Gaur Gopal Das. All these authors I have been reading, Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev. All these spiritual masters I am reading regularly. And on fiction area, of course, Paulo Coelho, because The Alchemist I have read a couple of times. I think 3-4 times I have read The Alchemist. And many spiritual. In fact, I got the idea of incorporating spiritual aspects into a novel or your book from this book, The Alchemist. So many are there. Even I'm not instantly recalling, but many others have influenced me in my writing journey. And I'm a voracious reader. I have got a collection of more than 2,500 titles in my house. So I revert to them. I read regularly.
So 2,500 titles Dr. Nair has read through besides many scriptures. Isn't that very interesting, viewers? So we have to start reading some good books, and let me show you where you can find Dr. Nair's book. It is available on Amazon. Here it is, Incredible Word Power. It is right there at the click of a button, available on Amazon. Go grab the book now. Thank you for sharing these beautiful insights, Dr. Nair, and thank you for being with us. And the way you have recited slokas, you surely have got a mastery and command over the subject. We are very much impressed, and we look forward to more and more titles from you in the coming future. Thank you very much. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you for all your nice words. Thank you for the opportunity. Once again, let me thank you for this opportunity given to me. I wish all the best for you also. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, viewers. Thank you, viewers. All the viewers who are watching my video, I thank all of them.